Good morning, everyone. Happy Valentine's week. Hope you're feeling loved. I see some red out there. Nice. We want to start this morning with Put a Little Love in Your Heart. Think of your fellow man. Put a little love in your heart.
All right. We see it's getting late. Oh, please don't hesitate. Put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you.
For you.
And me.
And me.
Just wait.
Just wait.
Still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know we won't let hatred grow, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you.
For you.
And me.
And me.
Just wait. And see, wait and see. Take a good look around, and if you're feeling down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you.
For you.
And me.
And me.
Just wait.
Just wait.
And see. Oh, put a little love in your heart. Oh, you've got to put a little love in your heart. Each and every day. Put a little love in your heart. There's no other way. Little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. It's up to you.
Put a little love in your heart.
Come on and put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your
All right. Put a little love in your heart. I think that's an invitation to every one of us. We welcome you this morning to Unity Spiritual Center of Portland as we gather in a consciousness and an awareness that the universe is inviting us to open, to expand, to know that truth, that idea of love, and of all of humanity being creations of the infinite. We welcome you. If you're joining us at home, we want you to know that we believe that the universe is energy. This is a universal energy that flows in and through and as us now. And whether we are in this space or we are around the globe, we are still interconnected, part of one, whole, infinite, and complete. And some of us didn't grow up that way. Anybody in here not necessarily be, or maybe our week didn't say that. So we gather to say, oh yes, I know who I am. I remember because I've come to be this channel. So we welcome you as we do this. I'm Reverend Lisa Davis, part of this team that holds a space as we hold that each one of us is coming into this center as a part of transforming lives. And the way we do that, and it's up on our wall again, we haven't had it up in a while, is creating community, living love, teaching truth, serving spirit, and practicing peace. We find ways to go deeper in that transformation and to open. What we want to do right now is just begin this service in prayer. Now, many of us were taught to pray out there, to something out there. It's like, was there a being or an idea or a God that was up in the sky? And what we hold here, and you are free to have any belief that you desire. We know that we're all here just to learn and to grow. But this idea that there is a universal presence, a quantum field, that we can recognize that we were created by it. We are filled with it in the moment. And regardless of a world that has said you are separate, That's an old science that is not even accurate today, but instead knowing that oneness with the infinite. And so we're going to begin with an idea of prayer as simply a breath. It's the breath of knowing the infinite. And so I just invite you to move within your heart, within your being, and allow your breath to be one with the breath of the universe. Let's begin this service in prayer. Mother, Father God, infinite spirit. And we just simply say, infinite spirit, I breathe. I breathe as that wholeness now. I breathe with an awakening, a breath that says, yes. Yes, infinite presence. I am ready, willing, and able to open to a larger story, to a deeper understanding of who we are, of all that we are, and that we are one. I allow this knowing of myself as a part of this universe to encircle our globe. In Turkey, in Syria, in places where there is this devastation, we also hold a space of love, of lifting, of being a part of each other, and knowing that as I hold that space and know that space for another and actively move into that, we begin remembering we are one, individually, collectively, and globally. And we hold that space for healing, for enough, for all that is needed in these different times where life says, grow through this, love through this, find the truth, and the spirit of humanity says yes. We hold that space and say, here we are, infinite spirit. Move as us now. And so it is. Amen. So we welcome you this morning, by the way. Congratulations, you're here on Super Bowl Sunday. Often people laugh, but that is often one of our lowest attendance Sundays is simply Super Bowl Sunday. Welcome. Beth's going to share all kinds of
good morning.
wonderful things.
This group must already have their dips made and all that good stuff, so we're glad you're here. Oh, goodness. As always, we're so grateful for our prayer chaplains who are the foundation of this ministry. And they are here to help you with your prayer needs following the service. If you see fit to be prayed with in person, Colleen and Sherry are available today if you'll stand up. They're here after the service. Yes, we love them and appreciate them so much. They do way more than pray with people. We haven't figured out how to clone Colleen yet, but we're working on it because she's supposed to be selling tickets. She's got another group. It's just like so much. But anyway, we're grateful you're here, and we're grateful you'll be here to pray with people following the service. We also have a wonderful dial-a-prayer, which we have some little business cards that are out on the table. This is a phone line you can call any day of the week, and I found out they're changing that message every day. So you can call every day and get a new, wonderful, uplifting message. So be sure and do that. Grab one of those little cards and put it next to your phone. You'll be glad you did. And if you don't feel like praying with anybody in person, we have prayer requests. They're in the backs of the chairs. They're on the lobby tables. You can submit a prayer request through the website. Our prayer chaplains hold these for 30 days, and then they send them on to Silent Unity, where they're held for another 30 days. So you are being prayed with. As I mentioned, today is the last day to get your Mardi Gras tickets. We're Mardi Gras on Friday, people. It's turning into a fabulous, fun event. If by chance you are here today and you signed up to help or bring food, we're going to have a little meeting in the back corner of the sanctuary following the service, just to kind of get our ducks in a row. And we'll do that after Colleen prays with everybody. So yeah, I also want to mention, so we're going to have live music, right? We got Larry Wilder coming to do some live music. We've also got some recorded Zydeco, which would be pretty fun. We have a wonderful menu of food. We've got mask making. We're going to do a 50-50 raffle because it's New Orleans style. We got to have a little gambling, little debauchery in there somewhere, right? All the bad things. It's the Tuesday before, it's the Friday before Fat Tuesday. So we're kind of getting ready here. So y'all come and have fun with us. It's going to be a good time, I guarantee it. Tickets are $25 and they're available at the table today. So there will be no Care and Compassion group today. They will resume on another Sunday. The YOU, I know you've been hearing this for a couple of weeks. They're getting ready to have this big book sale starting in the beginning of March. So this is the time to go through your books and call through there and see ones that you are ready to let go of and create some more space for some new ones, because you'll have lots of opportunities for new books once they get all those out downstairs. But we invite you to bring those in and share them with our YOU. The money they raise helps to send them to their summer camps, so we're happy about that. Next Saturday, the men's group meets here in person. They meet regularly on the third Saturday of the month, 9 a.m. in person. And then on Sunday, the women's group will be meeting, as well as the 20s and 30s group. Bingo is back. We are bringing bingo back next Sunday. It's going to be, we're doing $1 a card, and that's so that the volunteers who are getting ready when the public comes in, they're learning how to sell the cards and manage the money and all that. So you guys are the ones who have to come and help them learn. So we invite you to stay after the service next week and do that. And then on the last Sunday in February, we have Jim Toscano, who's been working with our endowment fund, and he's doing a little hour-long workshop called Creating Your Legacy. And this is, we're a full-service ministry. We're helping you with your financial planning. But this is wonderful if you have questions about making a will or a trust. He can answer all your questions. He's got wonderful sage advice and wisdom to share, and he does it in a real non-technical way. So you'll get your questions answered, and if he doesn't have the answers, he'll find them out for you. So we want to invite you to come to that. That's the last Sunday in February the 26th. All of this stuff is in your weekly newsletter. If you're not getting that, you can do so by filling out a green card, whether it's your first time or not, and that will get you on our mailing list, our email mailing list. But we also invite you, if this is your first time at Unity Spiritual Center of Portland, we invite you to raise your hand so we can see where you are. And there, we got a couple right over here. If our ushers are coming forward with our welcome packets, and they would like to give you one of these. There's some goodies inside, and we invite you to also fill out this card that is stapled to the back. There's also a QR code. If you're tech savvy, you can take a snap of that and enter your information if you've got horrible handwriting, which helps us out a lot. And then on the front, there's a rose sticker, and we'd love you to peel that off and stick it to your clothes so we can give you a nice warm welcome following the service. We do invite you down to our Coffee and Connection today, which is going to be a very special celebration, which you'll find out about later. So that's a little tease for you. But yeah, we're so glad you're here today. Have a great week.
Beth, thank you. It's amazing what she can say in the course of 5 minutes. That's very good at it. And we do welcome all of you who are here for the first time, or if you haven't been here in a while, we just want you to know that wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you're welcome here. We believe that we're creating community, that we're finding ways to come together that are not in competition, but instead in cooperation and extending ourselves out and creating something larger. I believe right now is a very important time in humanity for us to find a place that will anchor us and remind us of who we are, because we're here to be a part of the shifting of the planet, of opening of ideas. So wherever you are, if this community works for you, we would love to have you become a part. I believe it's very important, and I've talked about that, but the idea of just, I'm here, I'm a part of something larger, and move forward. If it does not work for you, I would encourage you to continue seeking. Find some place that does say, oh yes, we know who you are, we recognize it, and we hold that space as you move forward. Because every one of us is a part of this movement, of this transformation, of this evolution that's happening. All right, we are going to stand and sing. He's hoping I'll remember what's next. So I do have a list.
Yes, that's right. In the name of love.
In the name of love.
In the name of love, with the heart of
grace,
overflow in us, decorate this place. As it is below, so it is above. May we always stand in the name of love. Here we go. And when the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one. In the name
decorate this place.
As it is below, so it is above.
May we
We always stand in the name of love.
in the name of
Love when the
love.
veil.
When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one. In the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one. In the name of love.
In the name of love.
In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love.
When the veil.
When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one. In the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one. In the name of love.
When the veil.
When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one. In the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one. In the name of love.
In the name of love.
In the name of love. In the name of love.
In the name of love.
In the name of love. In the name of love.
In the name of love.
In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love.
All right. And we just invite you to turn to those around you with just a welcome, a namaste, the divine in me greets the divine in you.
I did too. I only found out about it because I'm close to the building. That's it. That's the only way I found out. We need to tell
You know, when we talk about in the name of love, we get to remember that the underlying essence of this universe, this quantum field, is an energy field that Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said it's all love. It's the only true energy that resides here is love. Now, as human beings, we have an interesting way, we have free will. We can choose whatever we want. We have an interesting way of choosing that. But I just want us to remember that energy field is always present, always available. And part of what we get to do we're moving into a time of meditation, is just keep breathing in that larger story that we're all a part of, that somewhere we were told we're not. But instead to breathe in the connection, to breathe in actual energy. It's within us, it's around us, and it lives as us this day.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
There is only love. We breathe in this idea that our nature is a vibration. It's a vibration of an energy that is love. And wherever we've believed anything differently, as we breathe in, we recognize I am love. As we breathe out, we are love. We breathe it in, we breathe it out. I am love. We are love. We move into the silence and simply rest in this universal essence. I am, we are love in the silence. As I allow myself to know this larger idea, and I continue to understand the deeper movement of the infinite that happens within each breath, I say yes to that realization, the global realization of love, the vibration of enough, of compassion, of caring, of connection. I simply say yes, we are love. And so it is. Amen.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There there is only love. There is only love. There are so many parts that I have hidden and denied and lost. There are so many ways that I have cut off my nose to spite my face. There are so many colors that I still try to hide while I paint. There are so many tunes that I secretly sing as I wait. You come along and invite these parts I'm hiding. Oh, this invitation is the one that I've stopped fighting. Oh, thank you for seeing me. I feel so less lonely. Thank you for getting me. I'm healed by your empathy. Oh, this intimacy. There were so many times I thought I'd die not being truly known. There've been so many moments forever lonely in my vocation. You come along and celebrate each feeling. Oh, and there you are, all honor and inquiring. Oh, thank you for seeing me. I feel so less lonely. Thank you for getting me. I'm healed by your empathy. Intimacy. There was a day where the trust that was being asked of me required too much, you see, to accept your generosity and to know myself enough to let you help me. Thank you for seeing me. I feel so less lonely. Thank you for getting me. I'm healed by your empathy. Oh, this intimacy. Oh.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for seeing me. I feel so much less lonely when people see me. You know, as we come together, I believe one of the most important things we can do is see each other. to see each other. We actually do name tags every single Sunday, and some of you have done the permanent name tags, and they're over on the wall, and if you want to do them, we do them about every quarter, and we'd love to have you do them. But we do these name tags because I believe we're here to see each other, to be a part of remembering both who we are, but we're a part of others remembering who they are. You know, this past week, as I've moved into just where I am in life and what's happening, I said, what have I learned? Have I actually learned something to this place and this time? And I know I have, and I've grown, but what's important that I can take from this? And one of the pieces that I really looked at is we are all born infinite, whole, and complete. Anybody looked at a baby recently? There is no question of that. But how many of us know that idea right now? Somewhere in between there, we took on some beliefs. And these beliefs are individual, they're collective, and they're global. And then as we grow, I think what we do is we push off some of the parts of ourselves. Other parts we build up and say, I can do this, I am this, I'm not this, I'm this, I'm this. And these ideas come in. They come in from our families. They come in from society. They come in from all around us, and we participate in them. And we don't even realize that we have subconsciously participated in some of these. And I want to look at this because we are here to realize, to call back in the parts of ourselves that we have pushed away. Anybody in here think they might have pushed away any part of themselves? Like the wholeness or the life or the love or the presence. And then we get to realize, whoa, there's something more. Then we begin the letting go part, oh, wait a minute. I don't need to be looking this way or have this belief or this place. I want to talk for a moment about these beliefs because I want us to see how deep they go. And that has to do with, first of all, Celeste. One of the things you said, I'm calling your name. I'm calling on you, Celeste. Many of you heard her speak a couple of weeks ago. But Celeste, one of the times I said, how have you made it through these difficult places in your life? And she said, I stand in the shadow of the divine. She said, I just stand in the shadow of the divine until I know that. I know that that divine is supporting me and moving through me, and I know that that's one of the things we're called to do. So I just wanted you to know I remember it. It's only been a few years, but that piece has stayed with me. Because when we are able to do that, we take on different beliefs. Some of the beliefs that are taken on, and this is a study that was done in 1940, and it was done again in 2017. And it has to do with the places we participate. This is Black History Month. And I think it's an important piece for us to know within that. Discrimination and bias exist because people participate in it, consciously or unconsciously. There's no question about it. What I was shocked with, and I got this, I went through this report in school 20 years ago, was that in 1940 they did a study and they put young Black girls with different dolls. They put them in front of them, and the Black girls overwhelmingly chose white dolls. They knew by the age of 3 or 4 what was preferable. Now, that came as an unconscious belief. So those are some of the beliefs that we've taken on. And they believed that segregation in school and desegregation of schools would solve that. And so in the 50s, that was a lot of what they were working towards. What's interesting is it didn't. And it's still there. And I know it broke my heart when one of my daughter's friends said, if I could have one thing for my birthday, I would just have light skin. And this was quite a few years ago, but it was like, whoa. So that's an underlying thing that we have all taken on. You can say, well, not me. The truth is, it's all of us. And the only way it stays is if we participate, because we were taught it's not okay to be different. How many of us have tried to be the same as whatever Barbie doll or whatever Ken doll or whatever who knows what that was put in front of it? It might be sports, it might be academics, it might be this, it might be that. Somewhere we participated. And so some of those beliefs We don't, so some of them are unconscious. Some of them are conscious. I personally believe that one of them we're dealing with in this country has to do with the idea of people being sinners. That was not what Jesus taught. It was not what is actual reality. The idea, in fact, Celeste gave me a book, and I've been reading it, the Revelations of the Aramaic Jesus, and I'm fascinated by it going deeper into some of these ideas. But that word sin, one of the uses and meanings also was that which needs to be mended. It had nothing to do with value or not value. It had to do with taking a little bit of time to sew it back together. That's all that was. And so this concept that's been put out there, if you grew up in this country, it doesn't matter if you grew up in a Judaic family, you have that idea put in there. So as we grow, we get to reshape and reform some of our beliefs. Our beliefs in a God were formed before we were 5 years old. And many of them, life was happening to us, we felt. And we didn't have the ability to say, no, this can't happen to me. But we also were told, you are less because this did happen to you or it didn't happen to you. But the truth is, the core of who you are is infinite, whole, and complete, every one of us. And life is this journey of all these beliefs that came at us, and I don't know about you, but are still coming at us. Life is this compilation of these beliefs and the ability to look again, to choose again, and to say, that's not me. That's not true. Part of how I believe we get to participate differently is to actively begin looking at every person around us. And Leah, I don't know what I've done, but I know this is going on and off, so I will keep working with it, and thank you for all you do to keep turning it up and down. But this life, it asks us to look again and say, I'm not going to participate in this. You are a creation of spirit. Start going throughout your week. Every being you see has that infinite light within them. There is nowhere that this quantum field is not. Now, we can real easily say, not me, it's skip me. Anybody do that ever? I want to know, how many of us have done that? We were taught that. That was a belief that came to us. Now we get to say, I'm no longer going to participate in this. It has to do, in this country, it has to do with colonialization. It has to do with who is worthy and who is not. And the fascinating thing is, most people that I know very few people who end up believing they're worthy because that was an old teaching. We were taught so many different ideas, and what we get to do is pull them apart and begin saying, no, so how do we do this? How do we actually say, I don't believe this idea? One of them is to begin seeing the world around us differently. So I just want to say, we have the choice to review every idea we have. If something comes up to you and says, well, that's just the way I am, this happened to me, that happened to me, we get to say, no, not anymore. Because if I participate in that, then I'm participating in someone who's LGBTQ being told they're not enough because of this. It's all in the same thought system. And we may or may not be aware of it, but it is. You know, when they came out with the new science that the earth was not flat, it took 100 years for people to even listen to them, just to listen. And 1,000 years later, it was still an argument. I believe that we have enough connection and enough movement that we have, and some people may believe it forever. That's okay. But instead of it being the truth for us, we can begin saying, that's an old idea. One of the old ideas I know we have is that there's parts of me that are not acceptable. What would happen if we brought them back in and then looked at the other beings around us and said, you're whole. You're complete. Now, this over here, it may, everything is either love or a call for love. And let me tell you, we can get into some interesting places. And we can be calling very loud for love. But it doesn't change that the core of us is divine. It never changes. It's always available. It's always there. And what we get to do is begin saying no. One of the ways, and I'm looking at the idea that love, and we're talking about the energy field of love, love shows up as acceptance. Love shows up as forgiveness. The energy, the vibration in us, when we put it to work, when we act with it, begins to say, look again. And life always gives us an opportunity to look again. If you haven't loved yourself today, you'll get another opportunity. I can guarantee you, something is going to happen that will make you question yourself. The interesting thing is, what would happen if we just said no? You know, Joseph Campbell said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. The cave that we fear to enter. Buddha said, if you do not get it from yourself, where will you go for it? Now that's a little slang translation. If you don't find it within here. But we were taught, the underlying belief was God's out there, good's out there, just chase it fast enough and far enough and maybe you'll find it. But actually, we get to look again. We get to say, what is this? Jesus, one of the things that he said and one of the ideas that he brought that has been so misused, first of all, he used the term Son of Man 69 times in the Gospels. And it was immediately taken as that's Jesus and Jesus only. Jesus did not teach a ministry of I'm the only way. That was created. And so if we grew up hearing that, I just invite you to look again and say, whoa, wait a minute. And he said, the Son of Man has the ability, and it's translated as to forgive sins. The word that was translated as sins was not a word that meant sin. Again, it had to do with amending, that which needs to be mended. But it was a new idea because during those times with that Roman hierarchy, everybody was a debtor. Everybody was in trouble. Everybody was the underclass. And he said, instead of meeting what's wrong, what needs to be mended, I don't even want to say wrong, what needs to be mended with violence or with anger, this higher essence, and the belief is that that Son of Man meant the light of humanity. That's us, the light in us. We have the ability to meet this, to forgive this. That means to give love for what is there, to give something other than what is with us. I think all of us have heard Gandhi's saying of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth leaves the whole world toothless and blind. You know, or blind and toothless, excuse me, I have it wrong. But, you know, that was his way of just saying, guys, think about it. How's this working? Because all we do is we have accepted this underlying system that we were born into, and we have upheld it if we just hold on to all of it. So one of the first things we can do is, what would happen if we just said, that's not sticking here anymore? You know, we look at some of our lives and say, man, I thought that destroyed me. Anything that happens in your world has the ability to bless you, to grow you, and to call forth the very spirit of humanity that is within you if we allow it. I don't care what it is, we see it all the time. But that's not mine. That doesn't belong to me. And again, I used it in class the other night, Martin Luther King, when he was spit on. He just took his handkerchief, he pulled it off, and he said, here, I believe this belongs to you. And it does. But we were taught that we were personally harmed. We may be slighted. We may be in a world that needs to learn a lot. But the truth is, we are whole, infinite, and complete, and no one can touch that. But we, by our beliefs, decide what the outcome is. And so beginning to turn that around. Nelson Mandela is a wonderful, wonderful example of that when he just simply said, after how many years of being in a prison where he couldn't even lay down, you know, of 27 years, he was in that prison. And he just said, this is not who I am. they do not have the power to decide the man that I am. And he literally, he spoke of forgiveness and reconciliation. And he moved from there just his out of the night that covers me. Black as the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. And he said that every night. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And at some point, the willingness to forgive and to recognize that we're created to experience the wholeness of the energy of love, then we get to say, this isn't sticking here anymore. I don't care if it's stuck a lifetime. That is not mine. And give it back. Give it back to the universe. Say, oh my gosh, up until now, I believed that I was diminished by this. But the truth is, I am not diminished. Maya Angelou said that. I may be changed, but I am not diminished by what happens to me. And that is a belief that we get to choose. And I would invite us to add another belief onto that: all things work together for good. When I open my mind, everything that happens in my life will bless me. And we can say, yeah, but not this, and you haven't experienced this. And so I just go to Nelson Mandela and say, where else do you go? It has happened around the globe when beings say, I am more than this. Something happens in the indomitable spirit of humanity, and it blossoms forth. So the first thing is, if it doesn't stick, and we just say, it's not sticking, it doesn't mean that it condones it. We're not trying to forget. We're saying, this isn't sticking to me. Instead, I am participating in a different consciousness. And it's one that you may do that. But the truth is, we are all infinite and complete. And I will stand in this knowing. And then, if it doesn't stick, we begin applying this universal power of forgiveness. I spent years working with this, and for me, it felt like it was life or death. My husband had chosen death by suicide, and I had to decide what my response was. I knew the spiritual principles. I was a Unity minister. I could blame the drug company, the depression medication, the pieces. But the truth was, it came down to what belief I was going to allow to stick and what was going to happen. And one of the things that I got from radical forgiveness, and many of you have heard me talk about it, is that whatever is in my world is there to grow me, teach me, and I will learn from it. And when I began saying, I believe that the presence and power of the infinite will support me through this, does not mean we don't go through grief that takes us to our knees, and we may stay there for a long time. But I know that it will lift me, it will love me, it will support me, and who I am is more than this. And so the ability to forgive, he says, I'm not sure we have to forgive. I did a lot of work, let me tell you. We may not have, because it's there to bless us. And he said anything in our lives that is there has that energy of lifting. It is a whole energy. And sure enough, as I began working with it, it turns around. Jack Cornfield said, anger, blame, conflict, and resentment arise from our fear. When we are afraid, our body tightens, our heart is constricted, our mind is possessed. We cannot live wisely. Forgiveness releases us from that power of fear. It allows us to see with kindly eyes and rest in a wise heart. When we do that, and we begin to say, this does not determine who I am, we separate the truth of our being from an act of fear. It's always an act of fear. If it's an accident, then it's something that is present that we get to choose the response to. And we can choose again 40 years later, I don't care when it happens. We can say, you may have been attached to me up until this point, but you no longer are. I put you away. And when we do, and I know it takes a huge willingness, it takes a huge willingness to be willing to move through it. Emmett Fox said, as long as you aren't forgiving, you are connected by a hook stronger than steel. And what I find is periodically it comes back up again, and I'm like, seriously? You're back again? I thought we were done. And I just say, I am more than anything that happens in my world, and I let you go. I don't have to understand. I don't have to know why. I don't have to know the solution to all things. All I have to do is choose my belief and stand in it. So I'm just inviting us as we begin working with our worlds to find, first of all, I think we got to find humor. It is hilarious what happens in our lifetimes as far as the calamities that happen, and we move through and we move and we grow, and they're all saying, choose a belief. It's a bigger story than humanity may have been told, but it's one that will not only change us at depth, but then we have the eyes to look at another and to say, of course, you are whole, infinite, and complete. How could I ever think differently? Because I am, you are, we are. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, we're still working with these ideas of enough. I believe one of the big, Lynn Twist in her book, The Soul of Money, said one of the big lies that humanity has believed is the lie of scarcity. That there's actually enough, but we've been sold a belief that there isn't, and so we have to fight for it, we have to hoard it, we have to keep it, we have to get more. Anybody feel like, oh wow, I'm beginning to realize it? I mean, that's the evolutionary impulse of the universe that's moving through us. We're going to receive our tithes and our love offerings, the opportunity to be a part of the giving. Some of what I had to learn was the idea that, first of all, the infinite is the source of my good. Not my paycheck, not how much education I have, not any of these other things, but that good is it's a universal idea. And so as we do that and we loose ourselves from the confines of an old idea, we find something larger. And so one of the, there's a slide up that will show you the different ways that you can give. There's a blue card in front of you. And I hear we've added Venmo. I don't think they've gotten on the cards yet, but we're doing different ways of how you can do this. For myself, it's automatic, so I get this nice little bookmark or little card, and I just put that in the offering, just reminding me I'm a part of that giving and a part of that movement. And again, we're detaching our thoughts from that which isn't enough to a movement and a flow. So I'm going to say our blessing, and then I'd invite you to affirm it with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Let's affirm that together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
I'm a part of you. You're a part of me. Together living out the script of history.
Come up here, Loretta. Yeah.
You and me are walking one another home.
There's a part of me. There's a part of you. There's a part of God in everything we see and do. Together we are walking one another home.
Here we go. Since the dawn of time, there is a great light. It is guiding us and calling us back home. We are a part of all that is, everything that was. We're walking on this journey back to where we're from. So take my hand, we're walking one another home. Since the dawn of time, there is a great light. It is guiding us and calling us back home. We are a part of all that is, everything that was. We're walking on this journey back to where we're from. So take my hand, we're walking one another home. You and me are walking one another home. Welcome back, we are finally coming home.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, we are so blessed. We are finally walking one another home. You know, that's Ram Dass's statement, we are walking one another home. And when we realize that, what a difference it makes in one of the things that science shows right now is during the pandemic, our brains actually got smaller in the part that connects. They're seeing it in kids, they're seeing it in teenagers, and they are seeing it across the board, 100% in adults. Now, we know how we grow brains. We begin to simply do it again. We recreate those connections and those brain cells and those things. And so one of the things I think our ego does is say, I'm separate from the world. That's the part that believed those stories. What we get to do is both say, I'm a part, and then begin the process of the actions that connect us, that touch us, that hold us, that remind us of who we are, because then something larger happens. So all of us are a part of that whole. And we think, I'm separate. But my belief in the wholeness of you supports your belief in the wholeness of another and another and another. In just a moment, we're going to sing our youth in. Now, these are divine, infinite creations of spirit. We know it. But we get to hold it, and I would just invite you to allow the love in your heart to create a circle into which they walk, because they are that life. And we're the ones who get to, oh dear, get to remind them.
Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lisa. Happy birthday to you.
I want to mention that there's 16 candles on this cake because this is Lisa's 16th anniversary here at Unity of Portland, as well as her birthday.
Make a wish. I don't think I have enough air. Well, we'll see. Okay, I'm going to let someone else blow out the rest of them. Thank you. My birthday crown. I'll tell you what, I am infinitely blessed, absolutely infinitely blessed by all of you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being a part. We are so excited to have you with us, and for all of you, because we are all one. So thank you. Thank you, thank you. We're gonna stand and join hands and sing, Let There Be Peace on Earth. That's our intention and our knowing.
Here we go. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we.
Yes, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. We're going to finish with our unity prayer, and then we're going to sing our youth out so they can go safely downstairs before we go downstairs. We invite all of you for cake. It will be downstairs for coffee and connection, and we know that truly the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And if you notice, our kids stamped that into being. All right, we're going to sing them out. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.